And we're live.
We
okay.
are.
Oh, wait, you can see, you know what? I'm going to adjust this just a bit here because you know what? You see your camera
In your screen.
Yeah, in my screen, which is kind of funny. Yeah, how's that?
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, folks. Can you see us? We're live. Yes. We're live from freezing cold Bay Area. It is like, it was the low 40s. I swear we're going to die. Send us blankets. Send us insulation. Send us common sense.
Well, I'm sitting here chuckling with having tripod envy. Midori has this big, bold, thick tripod, and I've got my very delicate, sweet little tripod, and
So you're like envying my 3 legs.
I'm envying the breadth and the depth of of your beautiful tripod.
Let's see. Some people made comments. What did it say? Let's see. Hi, Ryan. Oh, James wants to see some demonstrations. Dude, have you noticed the screen is like that big? The screen is like that big. Okay. So if you're wondering who we're commenting, hello, people on Caroline's feed,
Hi,
and
Jay.
hello,
Hi,
people
Nathan.
on Midori's feed. We're doing this on both of our Facebook Live because, yeah. Now, so, yeah.
Because we can double whammy you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, think about that. Ha ha ha.
And I love it that I get to snuggle up to Midori. I have my hand on her leg.
Yeah, she's furry.
Very
She's
today.
furry. Yes. Hello, Virginia. Yeah. Live demo here. There, live demo.
I think it'd be more fun, Midori, to tempt their imaginations into playing with some of the possibilities that we're going to talk about today.
All right. So our topic today,
Yes.
woo versus whips.
Woo versus whips, Tantra and BDSM, and what on earth do they have in common? Do they have anything in common?
No, say it ain't so. All right. So speak up out there. If you if you think Tantra and BDSM have things in common, holler yay or yes. And if you think that there's bullshit, there's absolutely nothing in common whatsoever, say no, boo. Let's see what they come up with. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. So for those of you who don't understand the reference woo, it's the short for woo woo. You know, new agey. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So.
And a lot of the way that often Tantra is portrayed in the world is as woo.
Mm-hmm.
I actually find that term kind of derogatory, even though I was involved in picking the title for this video. We're willing to play with ourselves. There we go. I said it on camera. Play with ourselves.
Yeah.
But we're also willing to play with some of these concepts. And yes, Nathan, you're right. It does depend on what you're willing to do with them. Both the way you're willing to engage with energy and the way you're willing to engage. Use that dreaded
now
word.
somebody's just said, except Tantra is old school and BDSM isn't. Really? How is BDSM not old school when there's like reference from, you know, Marquis de Sade and earlier, right? So when you think about it in terms of transmission of information, in Europe, there's a longer exposure to things that would be considered kink than Tantra. So
it does depend on the kind of Tantra you're talking about, because the Tantra really comes initially from the Vedas. So that's 5,000 years old.
No, I meant in terms of European exposure.
Got it.
Right? So, you know, so there's concepts of kink that was in Europe before Tantra made it over to the white folks. Let's see. No, I was making distinction around calling Tantra New Age. Well, actually, I'm being specific about Tantra New Age. And there is Neo-Tantra, right? So the way that I think a lot of times... So talk to us. You're the expert, man.
Thank you.
So.
Well, Tantra is a really big subject. We're not going to like totally define all of it here, but there is classical Tantra that comes from India.
Wait, let me be the asshole question asker.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Tantra is all about sex and only about sex, right?
No! In the West, great question, Midori. In the West, sex is so glorified, and I love talking about sex. I actually straddle being both a Tantra teacher and a sex educator because people love talking about sex and learning about sex, but Tantra is so much broader than that. It has a lot to do with energy and has a lot to do with meditation and has a lot to do with shifting your state. So Midori is now wanting to
Now
play
somebody
with my phone.
says
Yeah.
Tantra is erotic and BDSM is exited.
I think he means excited.
Okay.
Don't you think?
John
I think-
Bravo, restate your comment because I don't actually understand. BDSM is exited, and I'm kind of betting I bet it's something you meant to say.
Yes, Jay, Tantra is way beyond sex. When we talk about Tantra being sexual, that's really on the gross level. And Tantra is often, actually, most of the exploration happens on a very subtle level. But my gateway into Tantra was all through sex. And I often entice and invite people into that exploration through, if people follow me on Facebook, I'm very sexual in my... in the things that I share, because it's a great way to get people interested in what for me is a deeply profound and spiritual practice.
And I'm going to comment to Jay. Hi, Jay. Jay wrote, Tantra is beyond the sex. And the same could be said about BDSM.
So share more about that. How is BDSM? And what is BDSM, Midori, for those
so
who
we
don't
could
even know
go,
what we're
okay,
talking
BDSM,
about?
we could go into the breakdown acronym definition, or we could go with Midori's definition.
We like Midori's definition. Yeah.
Midori's definition of BDSM is childhood joyous play with adult sexual privilege and cool toys. Or translate to cops and robbers with fucking. Not always literally fucking, but cops and robbers with grown-up fun.
Sometimes fucking with the mind.
Sometimes-
Midori's brilliant at that.
I know nothing of what you speak.
Midori mind fucks me in the most unusual ways where I don't even realize she's doing it. The other day, this was so brilliant. And I did say we were going to share some personal stories. We were getting ready for a holiday party, and Midori got me proving, I couldn't believe she did this. She got me proving that science was more, not more profound, but proved spirituality more than any spiritual experience did.
That science can.
How did she get me saying that? I'm not even a particularly scientific person. And I was so running around in my stress mode getting ready for the party that I didn't even realize until later the mind fuck she had invited me into. The brilliance that we get the privilege of being with Midori.
Let's see, John's asking, where did you learn about Tantra in India?
Well, I actually started my journey in Tantra learning about it in the US, which is where I teach Neo-Tantra, but I recently made a trip to India, and I was studying the Tantra of sound, so literally working with the subtle vibrations and energies, and I was studying in Rishikesh and Varanasi and Vrindavan. I was studying with a teacher there who is, a Western teacher, but we got to sit with amazing tantric masters in Varanasi, and you can see some of my other videos on this, but yeah, who are some of the most renowned teachers across India. So, welcome, Nadia. I'm afraid we have friends tuning in from London,
awesome.
even,
Yay.
and from LA.
And Amos, you're most welcome. And Amos, I'm glad you like the definition for BDSM. See, I think a lot of times people get on BDSM, they get hung up on the whips and chains and stuff like that. But it really is about the creating interpersonal experience and that spirit of play. Part of it's make-believe, part of it's leaving all the day's stresses at the door. And when kids play, when kids play, they play at a lot of levels. They play whether it's playing a game of checkers or chess, or if you're playing D&D, or you're climbing a tree, or if you're getting on a sled and seeing if you can make that snow ramp. Not all the things we do is, sitting quietly. Some of it is exhilarating. Some of it's scary. I mean, how many of us have enjoyed when we were kids, having somebody tell us scary stories? Or maybe some of us were the ones who liked to tell the scary stories. And yeah, it's play, it's joy. And then the cool thing about being a grown-up is you add to it what I call adult sexual privilege. And it could be something as basic as that we are acknowledged to be sexual beings and allowed privacy. Right?
Which people in India don't get a lot of.
Right.
Really.
Right.
Yeah. Many cultures in the
Yeah.
world.
Hey,
Asia.
let's see. Hey, hi Janet, how's it going? And unrestrained exploration of, yeah. See, children are geniuses at coming up with how we're going to spend time with the person we like to spend time with. And if you're my best friend, let's say we're both like 10, and you're my best friend down the street, and I come down and say, hey, Caroline, want to come out and play? And you're like, yeah. And then I say, okay, do you want to build a fort with me on a tree today? And you're like, no, I actually want to play house. I'm like, okay. So is it more important for me to play fort, or do I want to spend time with Caroline, my best friend? And then in which case, we're going to have to figure out what we're going to play.
You're going to negotiate.
Right, we're going to negotiate. All right, so we don't do a fort on a tree, but can we make a pillow fort in your house? Mm-hmm. And then we start going back and forth. So, oh my God, Nathan is watching us
on both live streams. We love you, Nathan.
Yeah. So,
well, this is one of the ways I like to play. Midori, I'm fucking serious most of the time. I just said fucking on the video. Naughty. I'm not a very conventional Tantra teacher.
Very serious.
I'm very serious.
And she says filthy things.
And the way that I actually like to play and be self-expressed is through sexuality. Mm-hmm. And it's a way I get to play as an adult, but be really, really playful.
Yeah.
And I like to play an energy in so many forms, and that might be a bit of a woo word, is one of the ways I like to play with my students, Midori, is I look for the skeptics in the room at the beginning, and I'm like, who here doesn't believe in energy? And then I'm like, come and talk to me at the end of the evening, once you've had an experience in your body, and then tell me if you still don't believe. Because I like, I like for people to actually learn through a very embodied.
Now somebody said spiritual sex with your life partner. Does it have to be a life partner? Really? I mean, does it have to be? It doesn't have to be, right? I mean, with your life partner is great too. But if one is, I fully believe that one can have amazing, joyous, fun, silly, profound, energetic, whatever the hell we want to call it. In other words, an awesome goddamn time with another human being in a way that turns us on in some way or another. And you might not even know their name. But I truly believe that in the moment, you can love humanity even if you didn't bother to get their name.
And we're using the word sex quite broadly, right? Sex can be about bringing two people's energies together and raising that energy up and having a chemical exchange. We were talking about dopamine on our hike this morning in the forest, and having, having the dopamine come through an experience of pain, for example. You probably know more about this than I do, but
or I prefer to say intense sensation.
Intense sensation, thank you. Yes, through intense sensation, that's going to certainly get the energy moving and get the chemicals moving in your system. And that some people would call that sex, and some people wouldn't.
All right, so you're missing the rumble portion, right? Because we're all like happily agreeing on shit right now. So I'm going to be a little
stirring the pot.
All right, so how about common misconception that Tantra folks have about BDSM, and common misconceptions that BDSM practitioners might have about Tantra?
Mm-hmm. Well, you and I were talking earlier today about I get in trouble all the time because I break all the rules in Tantra, in that I don't use the polite Sanskrit words all the time. I use the actual words like penis. I also use the word lingam, but I sometimes talk about penises, for example, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I think sometimes the way that the kinksters or the BDSM players and the tantrikas can miss each other is in the languaging. We can get so caught up in the kind of cliquish languaging. And I know tantrikas are especially guilty of this, where it can be so airy-fairy that nobody knows what we're going on about.
Oh my God. Okay, so all right. You're listening to this live. This is what often bugs the crap out of me about the way that I hear Tantra being tossed around out there. The language that is so vague that I don't understand. That's so vague. I mean, we talk about energy. What the hell? Okay? We talk about energy in such a vague way. We talk about so much with such vagary that I find sometimes there's not a clear statement of, well, I'd like my energy to merge with you. So tell me, does that mean I tie you down and kiss you? Am I fisting you? Are we, what? Tell me what? Give me, well, I want it to be organic. Tell me what? Give me boundaries, give me specifics. It's like telling somebody, it's like me asking, oh, I'm cooking you dinner, which by the way, I don't cook dinner, so this is just a hypothetical. I order. That's what I do. My mother taught me well. It's like if I were cooking dinner for somebody and I said, what are you hungry for? And they said, anything. Yeah. I hate that. Mm-hmm. I hate that. No, give me something like I'm really famished, or I want spicy, or I want vegetables, or I'm only really peckish, or, give me something to start on, right? Mm-hmm. So non-specific language drives me nuts. On the other hand, I think in kinksters and those engaging with kink, it's so specific on the
negotiation
or the execution of a particular skill or toy that they miss the emotional aspect completely.
Yes.
Right? So that's annoying.
Yes. Am I allowed to talk about the rope scene?
Yeah, oh my God, yeah.
Both of us are passionate about rope, love rope. Rope is awesome. And for me, I'm going to give another energy plug. Amazing way to play with and translate energy around the body. And I've played with people that are technically perfect, amazing technically, and boring. So boring. I don't want to play with them again because for me, there's no heart connection. Mm-hmm. You're actually tying a body. There's actually a
paying
person.
attention to the human being. Yeah, like, all right, some of you know I do a little bit of rope.
Midori, like the leading expert on rope in the world.
Yeah, I do a little bit of rope. And, it breaks my heart when I see, like, great degree of, really, really detailed, like, I don't know, knitting kind of macrame kind of thing. But then I don't see one person looking at another.
Right.
Like, I'd rather see messy rope with laughing, screaming, coming, orgasming, whatever.
Right.
They're having a good time. Awesome. Okay, they'll spend hours untying the mess afterwards, but they'll even like that while sitting like Jello and having an afterglow. So let's see, other concepts of Tantra versus, misconceptions, right? That one side might have about the other side. How about this? That I've heard this where Tantra is all sweet and nice and gentle, and BDSM is all about pain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, that statement is not true, but yes, you hear that all the time. Well, I mean...
British actress... Hi, Scott. Scott says, Midori reminds me of British actress Finola Hughes. I'll have to look her up. Oh, okay.
So funny. I've never thought of you as having a British accent. Maybe I'm rubbing off on you.
Yeah, I know that my accent's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. But, that's my parentage. Mm-hmm. Oh, Tantra Jello is their favorite flavor. Yes.
All right. Awesome, Richard.
All right, so that, like, Tantra always gentle, nice, and BDSM always mean.
Well, we were talking about Kali in the forest as well today.
Oh, yeah.
And, there is this misconception that Tantra is all about, like, overcoming and almost making sex so clinical and sanitized that it's not down and dirty and rough and sweaty. I remember one of my lovers saying this to me once. He's like, sex is meant to be messy.
Yes.
And it is. And the tantrikas of old used to go and hang out in the graveyards, and they would dance in the graveyards, and they would drink blood and do these really intense practices. Mm-hmm. Some of them are actually still practiced in India today. And there was nothing clinical or in the light about that. Tantrikas are actually about breaking all the rules.
And what about scratching, biting? That certainly couldn't, and scratching, biting, whacking, all of those things, mean and nasty, surely that couldn't be Tantra.
Well, I think if you're talking about it in terms of energy exchange, it can be.
Yeah.
And I love your correction earlier when you were talking about not pain, but intense sensation, because I differentiate that with some of my private students. I'm like, I actually don't put pain in the body because I'm not a pro-dom. So I weave elements of power exchange into some of the sessions if the students need that, especially if they're not listening to me, Midori.
Now, somebody just said Tantra, you just don't come. True or false?
again, this in some ways that's taking us so off topic. What is coming? Is it ejaculation or is it orgasm? In Tantra, we would distinguish between the two. Those can happen together, but can be very separate. And orgasm for me, I mean, you can have a clitoral orgasm, vaginal orgasm, anal orgasm, blended orgasm, full body orgasm, orgasm out of my third eye, my crown, my heart. Like, I mean, so what does that even mean?
Right. So, okay. So, Jim, good try, off the mark. All right. And let's see. Arthur says we both look phenomenal.
Oh,
Thank
hey,
you.
Arthur.
And Scott, I'm definitely looking up Finola. Thank you for that reference. All right. So the other side of it is like BDSM is all about pain and it's all about mean and it's not about really caring about a person.
Right.
You know, I've heard that. And
It can be exquisitely tender.
oh yeah. And the thing is, if you didn't care so much about it, there wouldn't be so many damn how-tos and you know, all the how-tos and all the safe words and all the occasionally neurotic focus on process and procedure. You know why that's in place? Because people really, really care about their partner that they're playing with, and they want to make sure that these systems are in place so you avoid screw-ups and hurt feelings and hurt bodies. Now, sometimes it goes a little over, it go over the edge in terms of so much system and policy and procedure that we kind of lose the perspective and the joy. Now, somebody said pain is a door to open. All right, but
I love that.
I like that.
Yeah,
I'm
I like
going
that
to
a
have
lot.
her stick with my thing that instead of talking about pain,
I want to talk about intense
sensation.
Can I finish saying what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do in my
Oh,
private
yeah.
sessions? Just because I love it.
Yeah.
So I'll say to them, you know, we may, I want you to tell me if there's going to be pain, because my intention is to pour pleasure into your body. There's enough pain in the world. So I'm not interested in inflicting any pain on you. But what I am interested in is if you're open to intense sensation. And you might not know this about me, Midori, but sometimes I use tickling. Now, tickling on the bottom of the feet, people have very different reactions to that. That can be an incredibly intense sensation for people. Sometimes it's pleasurable. Sometimes it's really hard for them to bear. And I love riding that edge because I'm going to talk about energy. I'm the woo person. Well, not the only woo person, but Midori's stealth woo.
Stealth woo.
Stealth woo. I love getting to know you better because more and more the woo comes out. She was even talking about Ganesha and Kali in the forest today.
Yeah, symbolic representation of archetype, plausible deniability.
Love it. But so the tickling raises the energy, right? It ups the ante. And often, I'm giving away my secrets now. They're not expecting it. Yeah. Right? Because I'm supposed to be the nice dakini.
And explain the word dakini.
You always get me on this.
Yeah.
Midori, we did an audio, which you
It
guys
sounds
can
like a
find
duck
me.
in a bikini.
You had, what were you like? Dakini in a bikini, drinking something. You'll have to go look up the audio that Midori and I have on my SoundCloud page, which you can find through my website if you're
ridiculous.
looking
I'm
for
ridiculous.
it. But a dakini, it depends. In the Tibetan tradition, one of the definitions of dakini is a keeper of the energies. And certainly in the work that I do, I'm holding the energies of the different chakras, of the different energy centers in the body, and moving energy quite skillfully. But often a dakini in Neo-Tantra or in Western circles is somebody that actually physically touches the body in a hands-on way, using pleasure as the vehicle to activate the energy and to help open the person up mentally, emotionally, physically. So instead of just talking about the theory of Tantra, I like to give people a sensational experience in their body. And afterwards, they're much more interested in learning some of the theory behind it.
Brian over there said that a key to exploration has to be shaped to the lock in each person.
Love that.
Yeah, that's good.
Love that.
Yeah. Let's see. Tickling. Okay, have you tried tickling the upper palate of a person's mouth?
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I'm teaching, you're amazingly controlled. And if I did that on camera now, which I'm not sure I'm ready to do, we didn't know. Dory loves to fuck with me. But so when I'm teaching
Somebody
my
out
classes,
there wanted a live demo.
there we go. Keeping our clothes on and offering live demos too. But so when I'm teaching how to how to activate using this come hither motion in the classes I teach on awakening the G-spot and female ejaculation. We talk about this come hither motion, and you can do it a very yummy.
Everybody out there right now, wherever you at, just do this.
Oh, yes. Touch the middle of your palate, and with this come hither motion. There we go.
That's right. I want you to do it. Do it right now. Yes, it's good for you.
You heard me squeal.
At least entertaining for us. Come on, do it. Yes, it'll be fun.
Midori is such a fantastic instigator. It's one of the things that I love and adore about her. And also the way, Midori, you even hold kink. So many people teach it and I tend to be pretty linear, but in a very straight up and down way with very rigid descriptions of any of the labels in kink. And I was at a conference with Midori a while ago, and she spent the Scott's becoming a big fan of yours. She spent the beginning of the class completely deconstructing every single label in kink that I'd ever known, like top or bottom and dom and sub.
Yeah.
And you deconstructed all of these, and I had agreed to be Midori's live demo for the class. And see, this is the way Midori can mind fuck you. So she takes all the labels away from me and everybody else in the class, and then we do the negotiation for the scene in front of the class. But now every word that I've ever known how to use, she just basically deconstructed and said I wasn't, not only me, but the rest of the class wasn't using it correctly. So how did I even begin to negotiate what we were going to do? I was quite terrified, which again, I love this word energy, because I was totally Twitter-pated and kind of freaking out, but it got me really quite excited for what we were going to do.
And when you're in that like hyper-focused, hyper-aroused state, right?
Yes.
Do we have time? Do we have space in our brain to worry about what I call thought squirrels? Okay, thought squirrels is one of these weird Midoriisms. It's, some people call it monkey brain, but I think squirrels are probably more relatable to most of us in North America and Europe, except if you're in Hawaii, in which case I had to use thought mongoose.
Oh, yes.
Because they have no squirrels, they have mongoose.
Monkeys.
But all these little tiny critters, think of thought squirrels, not mongoose, thought squirrels, as all the to-do lists, the regrets, the planning, the Christmas things you should do, the holiday things, need to start doing you know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, I need to get more toilet paper, I should call my mother, have I paid the taxes, what is the purpose in life?
Right, and the things you're stressing about too.
And you get to a place where, using play and talk as a way to get into the now and to be present. And I think in the Tantra world, in the Tantra world, essentially, Kinksters and Tantra people, at a certain point, there's using different words explaining the same thing.
Right.
So for me, if I can have fewer thought squirrels, I can play harder and better. And in Tantra, that might be expressed as how?
Being more present and being in a meditative state. Right? So when you're having your ass flogged or spanked, for example, you're probably not thinking, if they're doing it correctly, you are not thinking about your to-do list or the drama that's unfolding in your world. You're going to be connected with the intense sensation that's happening on your butt cheek or on your face. That helped me right after the election results were announced. Somebody slapped me through the face consensually, and I stopped worrying about the election. I was just like, oh, I'm in my happy place now, right? So it brings you very present. Now, breathwork and Tantra can do the same thing, just different ways of getting there. So how to be most present. And I loved, earlier on we were talking about dropping into what I would have called presence. And you had this fantastic example that was so easy for people to drop into.
Oh, was it the holding space?
Yes, the holding space. Now, we throw that word around in a lot of the self-help communities that I'm in, or definitely in the Tantra community. And I loved what Midori was sharing about what that is.
So in Fort FM, that's my Women's Dominance weekend, they get two rules. Two questions that they must ask themselves, always. And one of the two questions is, how am I holding space? And then you ask me, well, that's a big topic. And I'm like, well, it's actually not. The way I'm talking about how am I holding space is actually super simple. It's not, okay, so how am I holding space? That statement could be a lot of things, right? Am I creating emotional safety? Am I using accepting language? Am I blah, blah, blah? No, because you know what? Me, I'm simple. I like things simple. I like it easy. I want things that I can, actionable items right now. So how am I holding space to me means stand up straight. Put your head on top of your spine, on top of your hip. Shoulders back, tits up. There we go. So it's just that. I mean, if we have no control over, if we feel like we don't have control over things in our life, or we don't know what we want, or we don't, and the idea of like making a place safe for somebody else, it's a whole lot of things to worry about. But first and foremost, check your posture. Everything else can follow from there.
Right.
Now, everyone out there, try this. Go super schlumpy, like, your spine is collapsing like a cheap slinky. Your head is sliding off your spine, okay? And shoulders and everything that possibly can sag is sagging. Boobs, chin, ass, butthole.
Sorry, I had to laugh.
Everything's sagging.
Sagging.
How does this feel? And then straighten up your spine. Head on top of spine, shoulders back, tits up. Tighten your core, throw in a couple of kegels for fun.
There we go. That'll get the energy moving. Got to throw the woo in there.
Some chakra thing. Some chakra thing. Whatever.
Anyway, you can get the kegels going.
Kegels. Squeeze in pussy muscles, squeeze in bump muscles. Make whatever your bits hop around a bit. It's fun. Just for entertainment purposes. Yeah. So, if you start from that, I mean, the world may be a hell in a handbasket, but at least you feel better.
And it shifts your state. I noticed even as I did the practice with you, because we were just talking about it theoretically before, but I moved into a more assertive, more confident space as I carried myself in that way.
Yeah, and that influences others around and shifts the energy of the people around you.
Yes.
I am such an ass.
It's great. I love the back and forth, Midori, that we have.
Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, another way to shift state, which we didn't talk about earlier, but one of the ways where I actually have this intersection of Tantra and kink is in something called my Black Diamond Puja that I teach with Charlie Glickman. One of the things that we do there is we have a kneeling station.
Okay. I'm going to back you up for all the people on my feed there.
Yes.
All right. Black Diamond Puja.
Yes.
Is this a ski run? Is this pastry? It sounds like a really good pastry, or it sounds like a really awesome run in like some Tahoe.
Charlie said that. He said people are going to think of this as a ski run. Yeah, it has nothing to do with skiing, although you might go down a steep slope. But really what it is, Black in Neo-Tantra references the play with shadow aspects, which many people are exploring in BDSM or kink play. And a puja, the word puja is a Sanskrit word, which literally means to worship or to give an offering. So it's going to be a ritual, which a lot of kink is. A lot of kink actually involves ritual, whether people are aware of it or not.
And ritual can be separate from faith or religion. Think of ritual as the way that I tend to think of ritual is a set of codified or habit behavior.
Or protocols.
Protocols in order to squirrel be gone. So carry on.
Well, yeah, because the ritual creates a container or a framework within which you can explore. So at these pujas, Charlie and I lead you through different exercises to explore different aspects of Tantra and kink. And in one of them, we have a kneeling station. And it's very interesting watching the power dynamics shift between people just as one person gets on their knees in front of the other. So we talked about setting up yourself as your own posture, but then having somebody else shift their posture in relationship to you creates a very interesting power dynamic. And again, shifts the energy, I'm going to keep throwing that word in, Midori, between the two of you.
So you've got the Black Diamond.
Yes.
Okay. So that Black Diamond Puja, and I know you have different pujas. right?
I do. I'm pretty well known for my pujas. I just love them. I'm a big fan of ritual, and
Okay, so what happens at a puja? Is it all right? I'm gonna be the jerk again. Is it a bunch of people showing up, putting on bindis, taking their clothes off, and fucking each other?
you are poke, 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 says Midori. Okay, so I aside from being a tantra teacher, I actually don't teach fucking. Most people have super high ways to get the one bit and the other bit. And while that's really awesome, it's a super advanced tantric practice that I find most of my students aren't ready for. Mostly what people need to learn is how to slow down and savor and actually get grounded in the basics. If you can touch somebody's elbow with incredible awareness, imagine what you can do to their clitoris. But first you have to learn that awareness, and people want to rush and just skip. So at my pujas, there is no fucking. We keep all of our clothes on. Imagine that. Imagine that you can learn about sex and be exquisitely turned on and even have screaming orgasms, because those are possible at my pujas, without any genital touch. I have other classes where genitals are front and center stage.
So that also means I can wear my comfy granny panties.
You can wear your comfy granny panties. Yes, you can.
Because these things matter.
These things do matter, yes. Although I do notice...
I'm going to a thing. What am I wearing?
I do notice, Midori, when I wear my sexy lingerie, regardless of whether somebody else sees it or not, I feel different.
Yeah, but sexy lingerie that like cuts in the wrong way and like up your butt and like, you know, bisects your labial lip in such a way that you suddenly feel like, you know, you're getting a... Ever have those sexy underwear?
I just buy them in a large enough size that I don't have that problem.
Ever have like supposed sexy underwear that all you can think of is chafing ow?
We haven't talked about my lingerie fetish, Midori, so you and I may have a different relationship.
Look, Guillermo,
comfort is important for mindfulness.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. Okay, now Scott. Hey, Scott. Scott said that very good discussion, even though I'm personally not into BDSM. Okay, and that's cool. And I find your discussion extremely eye-opening, educational, very important. Yay. So here's the thing. There's a lot of things that people do that they don't think it's BDSM, and it actually is.
Can you give us an example?
Okay, so, all right, so let's think opposite gendered couple, heterosexual couple, missionary lights out. Okay, I set up the stage.
Not very tantric, but
right?
Yes.
And then
the lights out part, I mean.
Yeah, and one partner says to the other, I'm just going to touch you, you do nothing. I'm going to touch you in all the ways you like, and you just do nothing.
So by do nothing, does that mean they don't even make noises? Or they don't touch back? What does do nothing mean to you?
So that's a good question. Okay, so if you were to say that to me, okay, I'm like, don't touch me back. Don't move. You can make all the sounds you want to. I know how you like to be touched. Don't touch me. I'll touch you. It'll be all about my touch on you. You can grab the sheets, you can make all the sounds you want, but you don't need to do me. That is actually BDSM. And how is it BDSM? Well, it's BDSM because one person says, I'm in charge, and here's the rules. And it's also BDSM because the focus is on co-creating a play and pleasure experience. Now, you would think from the surface that all the activities appear to be not kinky, but the whole thing is actually kinky.
Midori, you were just doing this. I don't know if any of you tracked it. If you didn't, later rewind the video and listen. Midori was modulating her voice. I probably don't do it as well as you do. But you teach an amazing class on oral sex, AURAL. And you can share more about that. But I was just getting all hot and bothered listening to Midori talk as she changed her voice. And it's amazing how powerful even changing the sound of your voice is in terms of changing state. So can you talk more about that oral
So using your voice,
sex class?
oral sex, I teach the class from time to time. Oh, and if you want to figure out where I'm teaching, and I travel a lot for teaching, and she does too, but I think you're more often here.
I'm more often here. Midori is like
I'm all over.
International jet setter.
Yeah, I teach in New York. I've got my women's intensive there and a bunch of other classes. And I do a lot of classes. Well, not as much classes in the Bay Area, but the intensives are certainly here, like Forte Femme and Rope Dojo. But using your voice, I teach that often. First thing, and this has overlap with Tantra, slow down. And think of your voice as a tool by which that influences and affects the state, the breath, the heart rate, and the squirrelfulness or not of other people around you. So slow it down. The first thing is slowing it down. Like talking dirty isn't about stringing together all sorts of filthy words. Fuck, shit, damn, fuck, fuckity, fuck. It's not sexy at all because I sound like a wind-up toy. Slow it down. Give the person a chance to ponder the depth.
She doesn't even need to touch me.
I got to once, seriously, it happened at BBC Radio. They were interviewing me about my voice and oral sex. I said, let's see, I'm dying to take your classes, Midori. Please more on Monday, Tuesday, or Sunday nights. Now, are you in the Bay Area? Let me know. Okay, I will try. But let me know, okay? I was on BBC Radio. They were interviewing me about my classes, and we were talking about the oral sex because, it was BBC, not BBC,
Oral
CBC.
sex or oral sex?
Oral. CBC, Canadian Broadcasting. And, of course, we were keeping it at Canadian Broadcasting level language.
Appropriate.
They had me read the weather. There's a high-pressure system building up to the west. Yeah, and so I read it with the best possible, I am going to fuck your brains out with meteorological analogy voice. And then right afterwards, the weather guy was supposed to come on. He actually didn't want to come on.
Oh, because of what you've done?
I just read his weather, and I read it in a way that...
that he couldn't top you?
Yeah,
literally?
Yeah, so it was very entertaining. Yeah, so, yeah, using your voice. Absolutely.
Hi, Zahava. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey. Yay.
Oh, well, I'm noticing Midori changed my state just through her. She's amazing. So amazing.
All right, so Tantra, is it Tantra versus BDSM or Tantra and BDSM?
I say and.
Yeah.
Why do we always have to be in conflict? I think we were talking about this in our hike earlier today as well. There's so many ways to get to the same destination, and figuring out the ways that work for you, be it around spirituality or be it around pleasure or be it around, my favorite word, energy, like what works for you.
And I think the word that I use is joy. Joy doesn't always mean happy, by the way.
Tell me more about that, Midori.
Okay, so...
Joy sounds happy.
Yeah, but how many of us like to go to scary movies and haunted houses? And maybe a roller coaster? You don't, but I do. Okay? And then, boom! Experience, right? And that, having a ghost story told, or doing something that is... maybe scary, and yet it's also feeling alive and vibrant. And because the thing is, going through a haunted house is very different than walking in, say, like a scary neighborhood.
Yes. Although both can be exhilarating.
Both can be exhilarating, but one is created for the purpose of play, right? And the other is how well you're resilient and cope with a bad situation, right? Both hyper alert, but let's see. So, let's see, and Brian...
My cousin Corinna tuning in from South Africa.
Hey.
Welcome. Thanks for tuning in, Dawn. It's great to see you too.
Brian says, Jigaro Kano explains that the energy path as well as routes lead to the top of the mountain. The higher you are, the more routes you can see. Oh, hey, that's neat.
Love that.
Yeah. Hey, Vancouver, I'm going to be there in the January. Right on. Yeah. So...
Well, talking about your classes, when is the next Forte Femme?
Oh, yeah. Forte
coming
Femme,
up?
I got a January. So Forte Femme, it's Women's Dominance Weekend Intensive. It's me, 9 women, 3 days of brain dump. And it's not about just the wacky pokey bindy, learn the skills. Oh, no, no, no. It is about tapping into your authentic power and unleashing it from the bedroom to the boardroom.
Oh,
Yeah,
love
it's great.
that.
And there's a graduate society.
so it's a whole community.
I love
people.
the alumni organization. They're amazing women. Anyhow, the next ones I've got middle of January in San Francisco, and I only have 2 seats open, 2 seats left. Oh, I should send you information to.
Yeah, we'll pop all the links
Yeah.
in the bottom of this so you guys can find it
And
afterwards.
so it's fortefem.com, and I do Forte Femme in New York in February. Oh.
What a great way to stay warm in
yes.
New York in February.
Yes, and there's a special early discount ticket registration that ends December 24th.
Oh, that's
So
coming up.
it
That's
is
this week.
Yes, it is an awesome last-minute holiday gift. Yeah.
Great. So if they sign up this week,
Yeah.
we better get the links in
Yeah,
quite soon after the
so
video.
fortefem.com, sign up, and there you go. Yeah.
I am very picky about which trainings I do these days because I'm normally so busy working,
Yeah.
teaching students, and Forte Femme is on my list.
Yeah, and I'll have you there one day. That'll be really special.
I keep going. I keep trying to tempt Midori into my pujas.
It's
So I'll
mostly
keep tempting.
schedule for me
I know.
because
I know.
because
Midori is always on a plane somewhere. That's often when I start a communication with Midori. I'm like, where are you this week? If I don't already know.
yeah.
Where in the world is Midori?
Yeah.
So Forte Femme is a great place for them to
It
come
is,
and
it
connect
is.
with you.
And then if you're like just, new to or wanting to get better play in BDSM, I'd recommend the weekend that Marsha and I are doing called Make Hot Play Happen. And it's makehotplayhappen.com.
And we're talking about our dear friend Marsha Baginski,
Yeah.
who is one of the co-founders of Cuddle Party, and you have created this very juicy, sexy product together
Yeah,
to
it's
really help
good.
people have more hot play,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So
I have a puja this evening, which I'm going to have to get ready for kind of soon to celebrate the holidays. But as I referenced earlier, I love this intersection of Tantra and kink.
So how do people find out about your pujas?
They can find out about them on my website, which is www.carolinecarrington.com.
And you also post them on your Facebook, right?
I do. Do you know, you guys, you get a much more intimate view with me if you connect with me on Facebook. And for those of you who are seeing this Facebook Live, like, you're probably already friends with me. If you're not, send me a friend request, because there you get a daily dose of me, sometimes up to 5 times a day. I'm a little bit of a Facebook whore.
Hey, Jennifer.
Love interacting that way.
Sorry, Jennifer, who's this awesome woman, right? And she's a Forte Femme alum. Yay!
Yay! Thanks for tuning in,
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
I got to meet some of your alum at a conference we were at one day, and it was so fun hanging out with these really dynamic.
Dawn has to go. Kisses to
Bye,
you.
Bye, Dawn.
All right. Yeah, we should probably wrap it up too. I'm actually meeting with an artist colleague, and another time I'll talk to you about. I've got some amazing art stuff coming up next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
don't always know about Midori's art. Follow her on Facebook and you'll learn more. But I do want to wrap up about my puja. So yes, the Black Diamond Puja, our next one is coming up January 6th, and our all gender tickets are already sold out. So we're already selling March 31st. These events sell out quicker than Charlie and I can even post them.
What tickets are still available for the next one?
For the one on January 6th, we have just a handful of ladies only tickets.
Sign up now.
Ladies are anybody who considers themselves a lady, whatever that means to you. And then the next date is March 31st. So
Perfect holiday gift giving.
absolutely. And I certainly have gift vouchers for all sorts of things for the holidays.
See, that's so good that you do that. You know,
Just makes it easy
You
when
actually have
people-
it pre-designed and all
I
that.
have it all pre-designed. I send it right to you, even if you're still looking for a last-minute gift idea.
That's so smart.
You could literally ping me. Please don't leave it till Christmas Eve, but you could. It will just make my life a little stressful.
yeah.
And it's a great stocking stuffer. And it
Order
can be used for
now.
my classes or my retreats or workshops. So it can be an
Digital
amazing
elves are
treat.
standing by in chains, doing deep breathing. shifting energies while being spanked.
And
That's what happens in Santa's workshop. Did you know that?
I love you, Midori. Midori and I had a little chat about where we would go in this video, some of what we would share, and like it'd be on course and completely off course. But it's so fun connecting with you. We love this medium of Facebook Live. I absolutely adore connecting with you, Midori, and let's do this again soon. If you guys have other subjects you want us to talk about, pop them in the comments below, and maybe we'll do a video.
Oh, hell yeah.
On your subject.
Yay! And you're going to save this on YouTube, right?
We're gonna put it all up on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. And look, if you didn't catch the beginning part, which you want to, you totally want to, catch the early rumble. I mean, we were like boxing. I took her down. She's actually in a cast right now. And yeah, you won't know
So
that
fun.
unless you play it back. So
I love how you always get me into my joy, Midori. Awesome. Well, we're sending lots of love to you guys, and we look forward to more soon.
tap those little heart thingies. Tap those little heart thingies as a wave by. I make them do that because
That's great.
I
What a
love
great
seeing the
idea.
hearts going by, and it's like people waving on the way out. It's nice. I like that. See, isn't that fun?
Yes,
Yeah.
and subscribe to the live broadcast, and then you'll get a notification when we next go
Look at all the
live.
hearts. It makes me
All
so
the hearts.
It really
Midori's
totally
getting
makes
more
me
hearts
happy.
on her screen. I want more hearts on my screen. Come on, you guys. Don't only give Midori the love. There you go. That's getting better. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.